guys, I'm Marisa Personius, and this is Cancer Theory. Welcome back. This channel is all about bringing you stories and resources and different tools to help you heal and come to a place of balance in your health. Today I have Nicci Julian on. Her story is another tough one. She lost her mom to cancer about 8 years ago. She's going to be on and just sharing a bit of her story with us. So, welcome, Nicci. Hey.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Glad you're on. So tell me your story. This was 8 years ago, I believe. And did you say that this sort of started when you were, I think, 18? Is that right?
Yeah. So I just turned 18, gone to culinary school up in Napa Valley, actually, and was getting going with what I love to do, which was baking. And then got a phone call that my mom had a seizure on the tennis court. And so come home, rush home, and she's getting brain surgery. And they didn't know what was going on. She had just had a seizure. They found a tumor in her brain. And we were all at the hospital, me, my dad, and my sister. And the doctor comes out. You know, they still don't really know what it is. They're contemplating it could be this, it could be that. I think at one point they had thought it was like lung cancer that had traveled up to the brain because they had found fluid in her lung and some other spots on her spine. So, long story short, it was diagnosed as glioblastoma, which is a super aggressive brain cancer. So she was diagnosed in January of 2014 and then had passed in May of 2014, actually on Mother's Day. So it was kind of a bittersweet moment. I always say she left on a strong note. Yeah.
Wow. So you went through, she was diagnosed in January, and then it was in May.
In May that she passed, yeah.
And was she in the hospital this whole time, or?
She was in and out of the hospital the entire time, but I would say majority of the time she was in the hospital more than she was home. And at the last week, she was able to be at home. The hospital had discharged her, said, you know, there's nothing else that we can do for you. Go on hospice. And that was another moment of frustration, I think, for our family, because it was like, what do you mean there's nothing else? You just take her home? Like, what do you do? But she had actually said, even though she was in and out of, I don't even know if it was like a coma, but just in and out of sleep and pain meds, she had said she wanted to be home. So we took her home. She seemed comfortable. We had nurses at the house full time, and we held her hand on Mother's Day and brought her a card and flowers. And she was kind of in and out, and then she had passed around noon that day. So, but between that time period of January to May, it felt like years. But like I told you, I couldn't imagine it going on longer than it did, even though that was a short amount of time. And I know that some people with glioblastoma make it a couple years, or they go through trials and they'll make it 2 to 3 years. I just don't know as a family if we could physically keep up, because we were at a doctor's appointment. We were at a chemo appointment. She would get radiation Monday through Friday. Her side effects were so bad we'd have to rush her to Hoag or call an ambulance. And something that I didn't mention was Hoag Hospital was actually so generous to donate a full-time nurse to us. And she was, I don't remember her exact position title, but she was a corporate nurse pretty much. So she scheduled all the appointments for us. She was physically there every single day to drive her places if she needed to, because me and my dad worked full-time. I'd come back from culinary school and worked at the Pelican Hill Resort because that was my supposed to be internship, but they couldn't give me an internship if I was coming or if I was leaving school. And then my dad has his own business, so everyone was busy. So Hogue gave us this full-time nurse, and basically it saved us so much time and was able to give us time to be with her that was less stressful. So like we could
Wow.
make dinner at home, and then the nurse would bring her home and we'd have dinner ready, or would be able to spend more quality time with her. So we're so grateful for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
They donated, is that right? They basically just free of charge heard your story and knew that you guys needed some help and just
Yeah,
gave you hours.
pretty much.
That's
The
amazing.
the Fimiano family are great donators to Hogue Hospital, and my mom played tennis with her for a couple years and had heard that she was sick and had said, we love Valley so much. We cannot believe that she was so healthy. She's 55. Like, this came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And they said, we're
Wow.
on it. We got you a nurse, full-time nurse.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So, what I imagine, having your mom get this diagnosis, what must have been going through your mind, or did you feel like you were kind of on adrenaline, like for those 3 months, just, taking care of mom and, going to the doctors and doing what you had to do? Is that
Yeah.
sort of what it was like, or was it mentally, were you going through kind of ups and downs mentally, or what was that like?
Yeah, it was a lot of ups and downs. It was a lot of people checking in, which is so nice, but at the same time can kind of be overwhelming. And I don't like a lot of attention on myself. So people almost looked to me at certain times like, why aren't you crying? Why aren't you super upset? Because I'm holding it in. I don't need you to see me cry. Like, I would cry in my car by myself, but I needed to not cry in front of my mom. Like, I didn't need my mom being upset, knowing that I was upset. So we always tried to like make it be like everything's okay. Like, you're not upsetting anyone. Like, everything's fine. So I think you just kind of do what you have to do and put on a good face and, try to be strong the best that you can. When someone else is hurting, you're hurting, but you don't want them to know that you're hurting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's hard to, stay strong for all that time.
yeah.
But I think I recognize that in my own family as well. It was, and that was helpful, that they were kind of putting on that strong face for me when I was going through the treatment as well.
Yeah. Yeah. She needs someone by your side, and you need someone to speak up at times. There was a time in the hospital where she actually had tumors in her lungs. So she had fluid building up there. And one of the nurses was leaning her bed all the way back. But if you lay all the way back flat, you can't breathe because that fluid in your chest is going to compress. And so she physically could not talk, but I was watching the nurse do this. And it wasn't the nurse's fault because it wasn't communicated to her, but someone had to speak up for her because she literally could not talk. So it's important, to have, your family and friends there to be able to support you and speak for you and just do things without you having to say anything.
Very true. Having an advocate is very important because,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the nurses and doctors, they're human and they have the best intentions, but sometimes not everything is communicated, and sometimes they're, tired, or you don't know what's going on in their life,
Right.
and, things happen. And so I know it's never a purposeful thing, but I think it's very important, like you're saying, to have a family or a friend or someone there who is an advocate for you, and it will be able to um, speak up for you because you're sick, you're not thinking clearly, you're
Right.
tired, or you, like your mom, like you cannot.
You cannot. There's
So
going to be those moments for sure.
yeah. So what did, I mean, this is, so tough, and so tragic. But how did that affect your life, afterwards? You went through this, 18, 19, losing your mom. Um, did you sort of have like a new outlook on life after going through that?
Yeah. So basically, my outlook during her sickness was just anything to stay awake, anything to just kind of survive. You're running on fumes and no sleep and emotions, and you're getting sick all the time because you're in and out of hospitals. So after she passed, I actually quit my job at Pelican Hill, and my dad was so in shock. He was like, "Why would you do that? That's such a hard job to get. Why would you do that?" And I was like, "Because I hate it." And I cried every day going there. And there's not enough money in this world to make me stay.
Mm.
So I don't want to. And I went back to school and I traveled to Europe whenever I wanted to. I lived at home and saved money. I met a lot of friends and new people and pretty much just did everything that I wanted to do and to be selfish. Like it was so fine, but also, I felt that it was important for me to do to stay positive and to honor my mom. And I'd have events for her because she was such a social butterfly everywhere. She was a big tennis player. So like we held a tennis tournament in honor of her name, and um, just anything to keep her memory alive. I like to share stories with new people that I meet and even new friends that I have. They're like, "I wish I could meet your mom. She sounded so cool." And that's how much I talk about her. And I'll never apologize for that. And if anyone ever had an issue with it, they can go kick rocks. But like, I'll always talk about her and bring up her stories. And when I have kids one day, I'll show them pictures of her. And, it means a lot to me to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She sounds like a very inspiring person.
Yeah, I just got engaged and this is her ring.
Oh, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So always find little things to keep me close to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I love that you're, like you said, keeping her close. And I think also that in keeping her close, I would imagine it probably is a reminder for you to like make the most out of
Right.
this life, because we only have one. We only have one chance, and your mom, sadly um, was taken, 55. Like
So
that's
young.
yeah, that's
Right.
young, and so that must make you just sort of contemplate morality, I guess. And like, my mom can no longer do certain things, and I'm here and I'm healthy, and other people
Exactly.
are still sick and in the hospital and can't do certain things. So I'm going to go out and make the most out of my life and try new things and do things that scare me. Is
Exactly. Right. And I think that's the attitude that you have to have and you should have because that's what they would want you to have. They
Yeah.
wouldn't want you to be upset, and you need to respect them and honor them. And like we had talked about earlier, um, you never want to go through something like that. But when you do, and that's what you have to face, you're grateful for it because you look at life so differently than everyone else. And your emotional intelligence is so much higher and you're a lot more aware.
Yeah, there's again, it as hard as it is to go through trials, because we all have them,
Hmm.
um, but it's a wonderful thing to be able to come out the other side, like the other end of the trial once it's over, and
Right.
to have learned from it, and to, I guess, to see the silver lining in it in a
Hmm.
way.
It's a great
um,
way to put it, the silver lining.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you were then, you started baking, you started your own baking company,
Right.
and you said that you met a little boy who
Hmm.
inspired
Liam.
you, and he was in a certain foundation. Is that right? How you met him?
Yes, yeah, the Gold Rush Care Foundation. So I was asked by the owner, Sandy, if I could make a cake and bring it to one of her um, events that she was hosting for a boy in her family, his family. His name was Liam. And so I said, sure, I'll go. And I brought the cake to the event, and they had a ton of gold wrapped gifts set up on the tables at Ballpark Pizza, super cute little pizza spot. And Liam was running around. He's 4 and had a form of leukemia. And he was just so happy. He had so much energy. It was a good day. And he just kept saying, and I'm so happy. This is so awesome. And I'm so grateful. And he's 4. And he was already a very like mature 4-year-old, very social. But I was just like so in awe at, him saying how grateful he was, because he's like, I feel so good today.
Oh,
So he's going to grow up with that similar attitude, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's it's sad thinking of him going through that, but also like so again
Right.
inspiring to see like
A
his
role
attitude
model.
from it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me more about this. It's Gold Rush Foundation, is that
The
right?
Gold Rush Cure Foundation.
Okay.
And it
Yeah.
was,
Explain a little more about what they do and their
yeah.
mission.
It was started by Sandy Barker about 10 years ago because she had lost her son to leukemia at 13. So her goal was to start a nonprofit where she can host events for families and children that are going through cancer or any life threatening illness, and basically put on an event, have them open all the gifts that they could imagine, and they're 100% donated. And the family gets to be there, friends get to be there, whoever they want. And Sandy will actually give a speech about halfway through on, why we're doing this, and we're so proud of you, and words of encouragement and affirmation. So it's a very unique nonprofit, and I know her personally, so I'm very proud of her. And as a mom, she still has 2 other kids, so she's constantly honoring her son and giving examples, telling her story, giving words of advice. And I'm grateful to be a part of it. And it's really cool to connect with people that have gone through, stories. Even though it was my mom and she was older, I couldn't imagine, my child and having to go through that situation. So I definitely have a lot of respect for her.
Wow. Yeah. Guys, check it out. It's the Gold Rush Foundation. It's going to be on
Gold
the
Rush
bottom
Care
of the screen.
Foundation.
Gold Rush Care Foundation. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have that on the bottom of the screen for people to check out. And then tell us the name of your company as well so people can support you.
Yeah, it's called Confectious Pastry Shop. So it's an online full service one stop baking shop. I started about 5 years ago and deliver all over Orange County, LA, San Diego. We ship and cater to any events, holidays, and birthdays.
Awesome. Yeah, Nicci, thank you so much for being on and sharing your story. I know I found it very inspiring. It really touches me, and I know it's going to touch a lot of people. So thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise, love to.
All right, well, I'm going to say goodbye to all of our friends out there. Guys, thanks for watching Cancer Theory. We'll see you on the next video. Have a good night.